Welcome to my Transformational Tuesdays video blog. Over the last 6 years, I have worked with a number of entrepreneurs and small business owners. And I noticed a common pattern that hampers their operational cash flow cycle. One key area is DSO, or Day Sales Outstanding, which stands for the number of days that a sale remains unpaid. Basically, larger the number, slower is their cash flow. Out of the many inactions, the top three are: number one, indiscipline to invoice the client on a timely basis. Entrepreneurs are passionate about the work they do, so the unpleasant, administrative task of invoicing their client is postponed. This is called lapse days, the days that lapse between a completion of a job and its invoicing. The sooner you invoice, the faster you collect. Number two, procrastination on follow up. If they do invoice the client, their follow-up efforts are usually delayed to after the agreed due date. That is, when they start experiencing the pain of the delay in cash inflow. If the invoice is due in 30 days, the entrepreneur commonly follows up only by the 35th or the 40th day or even later. Given that the client is trying to maximize his cash flow, he becomes aware or starts processing the invoice for payment only upon reminder. So the earlier you start the reminder process, the more likely you'll get paid on due date. This also helps you check if the client is facing any issues processing the invoice. Number three, and this is probably the most important: ignorance of the client's process. Usually the small business owner creates the invoice and sends it to the client and hopes in all good faith that the client is processing it to the best of his or her ability. However, larger clients usually have internal control processes whereby multiple stakeholders need to process the invoice and approve it for payment. Given their priorities, processing and approving invoices is of the least priority to these stakeholders. So the invoice goes to the bottom of the pile. If the small business owner knows the process and the various stakeholders involved who need to process the document and their particular needs and concerns, he can mirror all of that and incorporate them in the invoice document, and also know whom to follow up with and when. This usually shortens the delay in processing the invoice for payment. In short, if the small business owner has the discipline to invoice on time, rigorously follow up before the due date, and know the client's accounts payable process, he can usually dramatically increase the inflow of cash into his business and transform his cash flow. Thank you for joining me on this Small Business Transformational Tuesdays video blog. Have a great week ahead and see you next week with tons of cash.